Welcome to Share the Stage. Thank you, everyone, for being on our show today. I am so excited. We've got a very special guest with us today on Share the Stage. We have Gerry Foster, and he is known as the branding evangelist. He is going to share with us so many nuggets. So I want you to make sure that you don't miss anything that he's going to be dropping because they're going to be diamonds. So make sure you grab a pen and a piece of paper and take some notes. Welcome, Gerry, to Share the Stage.
Oh, Chante, I need you to introduce me all the time somewhere, my friend. I am hyena happy and peacock proud to be here, man.
Oh my goodness. I am so happy that you said yes. I know you're busy. I know you've got a lot of engagements out there, and you are probably, you're probably swamped with speaking engagements, helping these companies brand and just, do what you do. What?
Well, virtually right now, but not so much live. We're getting there, but a lot of virtual speaking gigs for sure.
A lot of virtual. Okay. Okay. Well, Gerry, tell me a little bit about what you do. What do you do?
Well, Chante, by definition, I am what's called a brand strategist as opposed to a brand designer. So just like someone who may own a house cleaning service says they don't do windows, well, I tell people I don't do logos, swag bags, tote bags, websites, and things that people can see, because great brands are built strategically and not just visually. And so my sweet spot is working with service-based entrepreneurs, folks who have skills, talents, abilities, a special kind of expertise. And what I do is I show them how to amplify their uniqueness so they can stand out, get noticed, and be rewarded for their individuality.
Wow. Wow. You said a whole bunch and you gave us so many nuggets just in that one little bit opening statement. You're telling me that the swag that I like so much, the logos, the hats, the actual t-shirts, you don't handle none of that, right?
No, because that's only part of branding. That's just the tip of the iceberg. The goal for any entrepreneur. Now, again, I work with service-based entrepreneurs because there's 5 types of brands. So let's start at the basics here.
Wait! Don't do that yet. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay.
You gotta save some of that before we get in. Before we get into that, because you guys, I hope y'all ready. I told y'all today on Share the Stage, it's a little different. He's gonna bring some information. So if you didn't get your pen, you just missed out on the nugget just that quick. But as you already know, Gerry, Share the Stage is really about individuals coming in, sharing their story, and their perspective. If you don't mind me asking, what is your story and how did you become the branding evangelist?
Well, I was born and raised in Detroit. Back in the proud days when Detroit was the 5th largest city in the US, the auto industry was booming, and there was something called Motown music that was blasted. And the reason I like to share the story, particularly about Motown, is that Motown at that time, and I'm talking original Motown, I'm talking the original Temptations and Marvin Gaye and Smokey Robinson and Little Stevie Wonder. Come on now.
The
Motown brand was the first exposure I'd ever seen in my life of this powerful entity. And so it lit the fuse on this whole thing called, what does it mean to have such a prestigious, well-known company be so successful? And so I went to college. I majored in branding and marketing. I earned 2 degrees, my bachelor's degree, my MBA degree from the University of Southern California, USC, right? Graduated with honors, majored in marketing, deep study in branding, then went to work for Procter & Gamble. Now, as you know, Chante, P&G, Procter & Gamble, is who wrote the book on branding.
Yes, they did.
And so I worked as a brand strategist. And the reason I'm sharing this is as follows. I started my brand development and training company full-time in 1985. This is my 37th year doing it.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I was 10 with a lemonade stand, okay?
Wow, I was 15. I was 15.
And there you go. And even though Jesus was wearing sandals back in the day in 85, and dinosaurs are roaming the earth. The point I love to tell people is that branding is all I've done my entire adult life. I live and breathe branding. I love everything about branding. And there's a lot of folks out there. In fact, I read an article once, Chante, that said the average American changes their job or career 10 to 15 times in a lifetime. Branding is all I've done.
Wow.
And there's a lot of folk out there who say they do branding, but then you find out, oh, you do logos. you do the pictoria stuff. You do the aesthetics. And so in the branding universe that I orbit in, I'm regarded as a bona fide branding guy, the real deal. Because there's a certain way that you have to go about branding yourself. Like you, for example, Chante Earl, he's a brand, he's a personal brand. The way you brand yourself or someone who's offering services is very different than how you brand a product.
Yes.
Think about it. In the eyes of the consumer, all of our listeners and viewers out there, you're selling the invisible. You're selling expertise.
Yes.
You're selling something they cannot see. And so you have to know the nuances of how to big brand expertise so that you can do what? Stand out, get noticed, and be remembered, and then be rewarded for it. So there's a lot more to my story, but I'll just leave it there for now.
Well, I'm going to dive into it a little deeper because what you gave us was a really good start. You've been branding all your life. It makes sense. I mean, and you've been doing a lot for the community as being able to bring your knowledge and your expertise to our community. That's something that's needed. And since you're focusing on the service-based business, you're absolutely right. It is totally different branding a service versus an actual product because you are your brand. And I've made a lot of mistakes. I know that probably a lot of other entrepreneurs and small business owners have made mistakes when it comes to branding as well, by maybe doing too much or being all over the place. What do you feel is a superpower from a branding perspective for your particular brand?
Well, I'll give you some context here because I'm glad you raised what you just raised. And that is, dude, I made a lot of mistakes in my early years. I can remember hitting rock bottom in the early days where I was down so low that when I looked up, I still saw bottom, okay? Mm-hmm. And when I think back on the years where I was struggling, the thing I wasn't doing was I hadn't found a way to be unique. I didn't make it easy for my market to discern what was special and appealing about me. Or they would try to hire me for substandard fees. Mm-hmm. And in my heart and soul, I wanted to be seen as the go-to authority. I wanted people to see me as this guy who was the best of the best at what he did, as opposed to just another option. And so to your point, a lot of folk out there, they have to make the decision that they're going to stand out and not blend in. They have to make the decision within themselves that they were born to stand out and not blend in. And so I began to make changes. I began to make the decision that I was not going to let someone label me as being generic, allow people to commoditize my expertise, allow people to lump me in with the rest of the crowd. And that is part of what fueled my journey moving forward and shooting me to some very high levels of success because I made that decision.
Wow. Yeah, it's real easy to be labeled as a certain type of service or a product, especially as an individual, and it is real easy for people to put you in a box. How do you stay out of that box, and what are some things service-based entrepreneurs are probably struggling with, right now?
One of the biggest ones is what you and I were joking about at the beginning. They think they have a brand. These are folks who come up to me and go, Gerry, look at my logo. Gerry, you like my website? Gerry, you love my colors? And Earl, one time, do you prefer Chante or Earl? It doesn't matter.
Chante, you call me Chante. Earl, okay. Earl is my other name. You don't want to call me Earl, because that's when I have to go back into the streets. They call me Big Earl. Big Earl. Big Earl is my nickname. That was the nickname. I'm 5'3", But they know when they call me Big Earl, Big Earl is here now. Everybody step
Oh,
out.
that's too funny.
That's my other brand.
Oh. With Chante, I tell you this. It really was about people understanding that no one's going to hire you because of how you look on Zoom, how you sound in Clubhouse, and on and on and on. And so I was speaking in Virginia probably about, I don't know, 7 years ago. And I said to the audience, for those of you who have a hard time understanding a brand is more than the logo and what people can see, let's take Coke and Pepsi.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Coca-Cola drinkers prefer Coke because it's in a red can, and the Pepsi people because it's in a blue can. It's what's inside the can that counts. So my question to you is, what's inside your can? Wow. And they all went, ooh, right. So there's where the difference is. So if you think about it, Earl, look at today's market space. Think about what's happened since the pandemic. Everything is online. And so, excuse me, you had 1.7 billion websites before the pandemic with zillions of social networks. And it's getting harder and harder for entrepreneurs, particularly those who offer services, to avoid being commoditized and looked upon as just another option. And so that's a mindset shift first. That person who's tuning in has to be willing to make the decision that you want to be distinct so that you do not risk being extinct.
Wow. 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 Mindset. So it is all about the belief system then, right?
Yeah. You have to make that decision, and you have to make the decision as far as what do you want to achieve and who do you want to become. Mm-hmm. Most of the people who come to me, they come for a few reasons. One is because they're putting out services and not a brand. Big difference. Or, Earl, Chante, excuse me, I have a lot of people who come to me who have a brand, or at least they think they have a brand. They think they do. And they want their brand to be as strong as possible. And we do what's called rebrand. You may have heard that word before, which simply means you're not doing anything wrong. It's simply time to hit the refresh button to make sure that you have the strongest brand as possible. So it's time to re-engineer, reimagine, retool, refresh what you're doing so that you can do what? Stay ahead of the curve. And as you know, Chante, big companies, they rebrand all the time. And then the third person who comes to me is somebody whose brand is stale, stuck, stalled, and in a slump, ain't doing much of anything. It needs to be fixed. So they can look at the symptoms. The symptoms that come from not having the mindset, thinking they have a brand because they have a logo or whatever, the symptoms are slow sales, cash flow problems, profits are not where they are or where they want them to be, and on and on and on. And so they don't understand also that there's a sequence to scaling. And the sequence is brand, market, sell. It's always branding combined with marketing, combined with selling. It's like a three-legged stool. Yeah, go ahead.
You know, so that falls into my next question, you know, because I understand your story, but I need to know how'd you go from being flat broke to having a nice size 6-figure company today? How did you scale? I mean, you were going in that area, but I think every entrepreneur, small business owner out there would probably be interested in your particular method on how you've created this high six-figure organization.
Yeah, you know what, Chante, it really meant me being real, raw, and vulnerable with myself. And when I think back on those early years, I was trying to impress other people. And I thought I had to show up like someone else because I thought that I had to get people to like me and respect me. Wow. And I had to make a decision to let go of trying to act, dress, and talk like other, quote, branding leaders and branding people, always having this polished image to be cool and try to impress and try to please people. And so the time came when I looked in the mirror, and instead of seeing a lion, all I kept seeing was this little kitty cat. You've probably seen that image.
Yes.
And when I made that decision that I'm going to nail down and embrace my own personal values and power. I'm going to embrace those things about my personality that make me interesting and engaging and compelling. And best of all, allows me to show up like a maverick, someone who's willing to lead the crowd instead of following the crowd, because I was following the crowd. Mm. Someone who made the decision to deviate and not conform. When I made that decision, it came down to this: Gerry, come to terms with by being more me. Go ahead and celebrate those differences about my personality that make me an original and a memorable. And let me tell you something. When I think about that, that gets into my spiritual calling. Yeah. Because my spiritual calling was to go out into the world and help business owners big brand themselves so they can make big things happen. And for a lot of the people that I work with, they come to me because they too want to put something out into the world that's going to allow them to have impact. And so in my case, when I found my spiritual calling, which was to preach and teach the gospel of big branding and all those things about it, and I decided to embrace my authentic self, the branding evangelist was born. Because that allowed my true self to show up. Wow. And it gave my life meaning. It made my life more meaningful. And I was more appealing to the people that I serve.
Wow. Wow. You know, Gerry, you're on point right there. You're so on point, because so many times as entrepreneurs and business owners, we take a big risk just to get out there to start a company. And unfortunately, it's been said that most small businesses, they fail within a certain amount of years. So how does a business owner, an entrepreneur, you talked about mindset and belief system, but sometimes we can have that that syndrome where our confidence is just not quite there. It's just not quite there. So we give away a lot, and we don't ask enough for what it is that we want. Have you seen that or experienced that in other dealing with business owners out there?
Absolutely, because the end goal always has to be to magnify your uniqueness and further differentiate yourself from others in your space. Now, that means, or that requires, that you give yourself an edge. What is going to be your competitive edge? Okay. That's where you're starting to get it strategically, which means you're looking in your field and you're asking yourself, what are people looking for from someone like you that they presently cannot find? What are they sick and tired of putting up with as it comes to work with folks like you in your industry? What do they want to have to change? What do they want to have work better? Where's the gap? So that you can say to the market, I know you've been looking for A, B, and C from someone like me, but you've been selling for D, E, and F. Guess what? I got the A, B, and C. And you want to know what else? You can only get it from me. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Now, stay with me, Chante. Because all of a sudden now, that opens up a whole new world of opportunity for the people who are tuning in here. Because in branding, this is about focus. Yeah. This is about getting across to your audience how you are different and why you are the best at what it is that you do. Mm. And sometimes, Chante, I have to coach people around being able to nail down what's called that one thing that you do that most others cannot do. Right. That comes easy to you, that allows you to deliver an outcome to the client unlike nobody else. Oh, now we're talking. See, that's how you give yourself an edge. But instead, if you're looking at your competition and you're looking at other websites and you're trying to imitate, I did all that before they even had websites. Okay. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
No, it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. So you have to have that unique. What is your unique value proposition?
Yeah. What is that?
What the thing that only you can do? that
Yeah,
can
so
bring value to that particular ideal client?
yes. What is that one thing that you excel at doing only your business can provide? Said
Well,
another way, tap into your zone of genius. A lot of people don't even know what their zone of genius is.
I'm gonna take some notes, folks. Tap into your zone of genius. Come on, man.
Because you've got to make, see, listen, Chante, there's 3 levels as entrepreneurs that we can play at.
Okay.
There's me too, also known as me also. There's me special, and then there's me only.
Come on now.
Now, most entrepreneurs are in me too space and don't even realize.
Okay.
Because it's all about the perception on the part of your target audience. So for example, if someone comes across your website, your social media platform, whatever you're putting out to the world, if you appear even remotely similar to someone else, they label you as just another penguin in the flock. You're just another slice in the loaf.
Yes.
You're just a piece of furniture. You're just a carton of milk. You're just a jar of mayo. I got all types of little branding comparisons here, right? Now, check this out.
Mm-hmm.
Brands like Nike and Starbucks have shown us that the products they offer are less important than the brands they market and sell. You got to get that. Okay, there's brands and there's products. There's brands and there's service brands. Okay, now,
yes,
the idea here is for someone to acknowledge that they're swimming in Me Too space, and they can quickly find that out if people sort of shop price them. What's your price? What are your fees?
yes,
Because they don't see you as being different. The second level is me special. And by the way, I call that person in level 1, I call them an imitator. Okay. They just look like everybody else. Okay. The second level is me special. Now that's for those folks out there who would say to me, no, Gerry, I'm different. I'm not like everybody else in my industry. I go, really? Are you relevant?
Wow.
What are you putting out into the world that people can grab onto as a brand? And by the way, what I'm teaching here are often the principles
Yes.
of the big branding companies, okay? Because the big brand formula, which is my own system that I created that shows you how to create a big brand and a strong message that sells so you can excite, delight, and ignite your market,
Wow.
is that special blend of what the big boys are doing.
I got you.
Okay, combined with the best in entrepreneurial branding. Okay, so it all works because it's not about money. It's about outthinking people. They go left, you go right. They go up that street, you go up that avenue. If you can't get through the front door, you got to make a hole in the roof. Come with me now. And so the idea here is that if you're at me different, that person says, well, Gerry, I'm different now. I go, really? Do you matter? And I tell people, we have rock star brands in this country who started out me only and then died on the vine because they lost their differentiation.
Wow.
And their relevance. Does the name MySpace ring a bell?
Yeah. I used to be on it, and you probably did too. No, I didn't. I wasn't on MySpace. Well, yeah, I was.
Chante, whoever thought that Blockbuster would go out of business?
Who would ever thought?
AOL, BlackBerry, Radio Shack. Look at what's happened to all the major retailers who've gone bankrupt because they never saw a force of nature coming that changed the entire industry. And that force is called Amazon.
Come on. Yep. Facts.
The level that I show folks how to play at is called me only, where you can say that you are the only hama that does hama.
Come on now, Gerry.
And the reason why you can pull off something on behalf of your customers, unlike no one else, is because of your secret sauce. The way you serve, the way you lead, the way you deliver, that's second to none, which means you got to tap into your brand DNA, your wisdom, your perspectives, those things that make you who you are, that allows you to serve your market unlike no one other. That's what I show people how to do. And by the way, Chante, most of my clients are solopreneurs. This conversation here is not for companies doing $5, $10 million a year. No, the stuff that I'm sharing here could be for someone who's only doing $50,000 a year.
Right.
But they want to scale. So all of our listeners, and hear what I'm saying here, okay? Don't feel you're being left out, because this is not about money. This is about thinking.
Wow. No, I'm definitely with you. So what level do you want to play at? You said me only. That's
the level you want to play
That's the level you want to be in.
Yeah, because you've made the decision that you're going to deviate and not conform.
Your authentic
self. You're going to innovate and not imitate.
Come on. Y'all taking notes? Innovate and not imitate. You know, Gerry, you are really on point. You have been sharing so many great ideas, and just the level of expertise that you bring to the table. I know that the people that you're working with, they are probably excited to have you on their team. I know I am, and I'm learning so much just in this small conversation that we're having here. And I want to address the audience right now real quick. Those of you who are watching right now, I'd like you to share and like this video. Go ahead and get this out to the rest of the individuals, people who may be interested in branding. And that's just about everyone who has a small business or an entrepreneur who's in a space of seeing, hey, it's time for me to do something different. It's time for me to stop imitating and start to innovating. It's time for me only. I need these strategies. This podcast, this episode of Share the Stage is for you. So please make sure you like and make sure you share, and make sure if you have any comments, go ahead and put them in the comment section, and I'll try to make sure that we see if we can get those questions answered for you. Gerry, you've been in this game, like you said, for a long time. You've taught at colleges. You spoke internationally. You've been all over the world, and you've dealt with so many different businesses. In the process of doing that, how do you yourself get your clients?
Well, I get my share of referrals, and I get them from speaking engagements, but I also get clients through my own online marketing, for sure, and also from networking. You know, it's interesting, Chante, because of the pandemic, I had never connected with so many people, and the same thing may have happened to you. I mean, it was incredible. And I'm not quite sure that's going to go away, even when we get to being a total herd community and we're all comfortable with going live everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to go away, because I discovered, man, I was connecting and meeting folks that I don't think I ever would have met had it not been for the pandemic. And I don't mean to say it like that, but you get my point.
No, I get your point.
This virtual world, man, has changed and shifted everything.
Yeah, it really has. And the wonderful part about it is you don't have to leave the comfort of your home. You can be in your office, although people really still love to meet face to face. And I know there's a lot of events that are now starting to be opened up. We're starting to see a lot more activity. I know prior to the pandemic, I was going to all types of workshops and speaking engagements. But you're so right, because I reached out to you online, and you'll be surprised how open people can be to want to share with you. And as someone that understands branding, when dealing with, let's say, speaker bureaus or event planners, what's your strategy to get in front of them?
That comes through word of mouth and through networking.
There we go.
I want to go back and say one more thing before I forget. You asked me a very interesting question earlier about biggest mistakes and problems that a lot of entrepreneurs make. And I shared the Golden Triangle brand market sales. Didn't I share that? Okay.
Please do.
But okay. Here's what I didn't say. The job of branding is to get you known. The job of marketing is to get you found. The job of selling is to get you paid.
Come on now.
You got to get known, you got to get found, you got to get paid. In that order.
Found and paid. Come on now.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you got to be seen, you got to be heard, and you have to make money. But here's the thing. All three have to work together. So one of the biggest pitfalls for a lot of owners, going back to one of your original questions, too many of them are putting their emphasis on marketing.
Wow.
They think marketing is the holy grail. However, any smart marketing person who's got high integrity will tell you, make sure your branding is in place, because the branding fuels the marketing. Because at the end of the day, you got to give people a reason to choose you.
Wow.
And then you feed that to your marketing machinery, and then figure out how to do that through funnels and lead generating campaigns and all types of digital marketing.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to first send a signal to your audience that there's a new sheriff in town. You got to be willing to step in and claim your own power, affirm your greatness, leverage what makes you me only, and let that be the thing that gets ramped up and amplified through your marketing. And then it makes selling a lot easier. So this is about doing what? Distancing yourself from the rest of the crowd in your industry.
Come on now.
This is about telling people that you are so unique and so special at what you do that when you feed that into your online marketing campaign, folks won't have any reason not to pay attention to you and desire you.
Yes.
And this conversation that we're having here, everyone who's listening, mark my words. For those of you who are solopreneurs, doing less than 100,000, maybe even doing, I don't know, no more than 200 to 300,000. This stuff that I'm sharing with you, most marketing people are not going to tell you everything that Chante has had me share on this call.
Come on now.
They ain't going to tell you.
Come on.
I'm telling you.
You guys
because
are getting.
I hear the horror stories. They all come back to Uncle Gerry at some point. Horror stories. Chante ain't kidding. Oh, Gerry, I spent all this money on coaches. Oh my God, I spent all this money on marketing campaigns, and I tried this and I tried that. One guy said, I got 2 black eyes and a bloody nose to prove it.
Come on now.
Don't get me started.
Come on now. Hey, and that's a fact. So you got to work on your branding, which feeds your marketing, which feeds their sales. Come on now, and it has to be in that order. So the question is to all of you who are watching.
That impacts cash flow.
Come on now, we need
the
the cash
of any company.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, without cash, you ain't gonna you can't do too much without the cash.
Can I get a witness?
Come on, cash move everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, y'all. Nah.
Hey.
Oh my goodness. You know, this is fun.
Right.
This is so much fun.
Let it rain.
And this is so much fun. You are a genius, man, when it comes to marketing, and I can pick your brain all
branding,
day.
not marketing. Branding.
I mean branding. Come on, correction, because you're not a marketer, but you are. But your branding is one of a kind, and I'm so excited to be working with you and to learn so much more about what it is that you're doing. Let me ask you this: where exactly does branding fit? Well, you answered that question, Ari, because I was going to ask you, where does it fit when you want to grow? And you kind of answered that. And the thing about right now in this current society, a lot of folks are doing online marketing. But they're not branding themselves in a way that's really going to differentiate themselves from the masses. So they're just me too, and not in that me only stage. With your business and your company, what exactly do you do to help someone like me or someone that's watching? What's your initial steps to get them going?
Well, for me, I always tell people, start with my free gift. So if our listeners go to GerryFosterBranding.com/captivate, Chante, I created a 1-hour training course. It's free of charge to everyone. And I should have put that in the chat box, but it's GerryFosterBranding.com, Gerry with a G, /captivate.
Okay.
Watch the video at the top of the page, and they can download a 1 hour training video, which is broken into like 7 or 9 videos. And I expand on this whole thing called differentiation. That's a great place to start. And it includes $1,000 worth of free bonuses. If people want to have a brainstorming session with me, Zoom. Listen, I'm a giver and not a taker.
Yes.
And so I love meeting on Zoom with one-on-one with folks and brands. I offer a brainstorming session.
Wow.
And so for our listeners out there, that's where I'd like to start.
Okay. Well, okay. Excellent. So they can reach you at gerryfoster.com.
GerryFosterBranding.com.
Oh, GerryFosterBranding.com/captivate.
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. You guys make sure you go to that website, support Gerry and his business, because he's going to give you so much, and in return, you know, you never know. He may just be the man for you. I'm pretty sure he is, that can help take your business from being an innovator, from being an imitator to an innovator. I love that. I love that. Because being an authentic person in your branding is probably key. Because like you said, that's how you found yourself once you decided to move away from all of the other stuff and just embrace who you are as a person.
Absolutely, Chante. And the spiritual lesson in all of this is that first, let me say this in the natural. Unless you brand yourself, someone else will.
Wow.
And the way they brand you is probably not going to be the way you want to be branded. Because they're going to pigeonhole you, they're going to slot you, they're going to label you as just another hama. Mm-hmm. So I'm a real estate agent. Okay, I put you to the real estate pile. I'm a financial planner, to the financial planning pile. I'm a life coach. Oh, another one of those, into the life coaching pile. So the first thing everyone also has to do, I should say the first thing, awesome, but anyway, you have to do what? You got to seize control over how people perceive you.
Okay.
That's the kind of work that I do. Second point, raise the bar so that you're willing or forced to think creatively, to break with and go against the status quo. Listen, for some of you, it's time for you to shuffle the deck, turn the tables in your favor, and do some things that you've never done before, so your God can get some things to you that you ain't never had before, which then leads to my spiritual lesson, which is this. Because Chante, as you know, all of my work is faith-based. And it's simply this. In order for your God to get a blessing to you, he's got to be able to bless others through you. But the only way he can bless others through you is if no other business looks like you or sounds like you. And so you live in the world, but you're not of the world. How dare you show up like others in your industry? You embrace your legacy and your greatness. And this vessel that your God has given you is called your brand. Because a brand is a promise, Chante. We haven't talked about that. What exactly is a brand? If it's not a logo, what is it? It's a promise. It's a promise on your part to meet unmet demand from what people are looking for from someone like you that they cannot find. And then the job of marketing is to do what? Create that demand. And then the job of selling is to get people to pay for that.
Wow.
And you know what, Chante? We got a whole lot of folks who are out of sequence. They're buying shiny objects of marketing. They're frustrated. They're confused or overwhelmed because the marketing gurus, I call them marketing predators. One person told me the other day, no, Gerry, they're bloodsuckers. Anyway, so I do something. I'm very unique at what I do.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
But you want to become well known in your expertise for doing something of exceptional high value.
Yes.
If you see yourself as wanting to put out a business that's going to help the people you serve achieve what they want to achieve and become who they want to become. But that's not going to happen unless you provide something that they want so badly, they'll do almost anything to get it. So you got to make people thirsty. Mm-hmm. Like a boy Les Brown used to say, we got to make them thirsty.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. You know, that was I'm full, bro. I am so full. You have really blessed us with so much today, and I hope you guys got a lot out of the show. Gerry, I thank you so much for being part of Share the Stage. Is there one thing that you would like to leave the audience with before we end the show today?
It would be this: to know in your heart that the best is in front of you and the worst is behind you. That what's coming will be better than what's been. To know and believe in your heart of hearts that you were born to stand out, not blend in, be the head, not the tail, be a lender and not a borrower, to be the person that people should recognize as being a cut above the rest. Mm. Own that. You are designer made. Your God did not create you to be off the rack. You're a designer made.
Wow.
Show off like that.
Wow. You know, I love it.
It's your time.
I love it. Share the stage. Gerry Foster, he hit a home run out the park. You guys all are individuals. Nobody is made the same. Just look at your handprint. God has a special gift just for you, and that is your brand. So go ahead and own it, find it, and Gerry can help you find that brand. So you guys make sure you reach out to him again. His website is gerryfosterbranding.com. Can they find you on social media as well? Facebook?
Oh yeah, you can go on Facebook, LinkedIn, Gerry Foster Branding, Gerry with a G, and LinkedIn, that's Facebook and LinkedIn, and then Instagram is Big Brand Man.
Big Brand Man. Hey, I appreciate your time today, Gerry. Thank you so much for sharing the stage and being part of our goal to impact the world and bring a new enlightenment to their mindset. I think you've done it today, and I hope all of you who have been watching, I hope you guys have been blessed today on Share the Stage. Gerry, thank you again, and I hope to have you back one day, and you continue to be a blessing to those who are watching. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Oh, man, my pleasure, my honor. Thank you, Chante.
Thanks,
and God bless you for what you're doing here.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for sharing the stage. Bye now. Every few decades, a legendary leader comes along and completely disrupts everything we thought we knew about business. And just like that, our lives are forever changed. Napoleon Hill, Zig Ziglar, Steve Jobs, the world is wondering who